listening to the Mom Prepares podcast, a feature of momprepares.com, which is a modern guide to self-sufficiency and a place to learn how to keep your family safe, fed, and healthy.
Hello, this is Jendi, and I'm here with Jaimie from anamericanhomestead.com, and we are going to talk about off-grid living. So hello, Jaimie, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to meet you, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your website?
Well, our website is anamericanhomestead.com. And my husband and I run that website together. He is the video guru, so he puts together all of our videos. We have a lot of videos on YouTube. Across the board, we cover things like homesteading, different things with preparedness. But we focus on homesteading, but of course, our goal in homesteading is to be self-sufficient. So all of our videos are about that. We live off-grid. The only connection to the grid is a phone line. So we are actually talking today through the internet that comes to our property through our phone line, and that's the only connection we have. But we are able to get high-speed internet because of that phone line that we have connected and powered to a solar panel. So all of our electricity needs are provided through the solar panels that we have on our property. We actually also have some windmills, popularly called today wind turbines. But so all of that provides our electricity needs. And most of that is just for our office, computers, and then we also have an aquaponics system, which is powered through that. Other than that, we don't have any other electricity.
I'm so glad you told us that, because I was wondering when I contacted you, I was like, well, she has a website. Like, somehow she gets online.
Yeah, it's funny because we often get responses like, why in the world don't you have a refrigerator if you have solar power? Well, the answer to that is that we have limited solar power, and we've chosen to use that for communications because there is really no other way we can communicate with the outside world and run our business without electricity powered through our solar panels and our wind turbines. We are able to function just fine without a refrigerator, but we cannot do our business without electricity. So that's why we choose to use our limited solar and wind for our business.
And I love all the access that we have, that we can have a business on the internet. That's just awesome.
Yeah, it's such a blessing.
Can you tell us a little bit about, do you have kids and do you have animals? What all do you have?
We have 2 children. Our oldest is 8 and our youngest is 2, and they're both boys. And right now they're running around outside, probably chasing our chickens, but they're doing their chores, actually. Their job is to collect our kindling for our wood stove fire. And we have chickens, we have sheep. We actually just got 2 brand new lambs this week. We hope that the rest will be giving birth soon. We have a donkey. If you've been to our website, you'll see pictures of our donkey. Her purpose in life is to protect our animals. We do not have a dog. We chose to get a donkey just because there's a lot of information out there about guard donkeys. And basically her job is to protect our animals. And she eats the same feed as our sheep do, so we don't have to buy extra dog food. And she stays out there all the time. She doesn't ever need to come in the house, and she's pretty good at her job. She doesn't like small animals, so she'll protect the sheep and chase them away. We also have some guineas. If you know about guinea hens, you know that they're good for alerting you to anything going on. They're really good with snakes. They really alert you when they see snakes. They're also very good with eating ticks and chiggers, which we have a big problem with here on our property in the Northwest Arkansas area. So We also have fish, which are in our aquaponics system that are in our greenhouse. And we raise bluegill fish because they are really good with cold weather. We tried tilapia for a while, but they died because of our cold weather. So now we're doing bluegill. I think that pretty much covers it. We also have a cat, and she roams around, and she's a really good mouser. She takes care of our mice.
Our neighbor just down the road has a donkey to protect his chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have foxes, so the donkey will protect against the foxes.
Yeah. She's really, really good about running off animals. She really hates to see animals on our property that don't belong.
So how did you and your husband get interested in living off-grid?
Oh, that's kind of a big question, but it's a long time in coming for us. We've been living off grid for over 2 years now. Way back when I first met my husband, he was just beginning to be interested in preparedness, and I didn't really know much about it back then. It made sense to me. I've always been an organized person, and I always made sense that you would prepare for any kind of disaster situation. I grew up as a missionary kid, so I was familiar with living a simpler kind of life. We didn't have typical conveniences like most people are used to in the United States. We heated our water in a wood-burning hot water heater. We hung all of our clothes on the clothesline. We didn't have a clothes dryer. We did have a washing machine. We had some power. So things like that I was used to. So when I met my husband, though, I was very used to the typical American lifestyle. And we got married, and he started talking more about preparedness and wanting to purchase a lot of food and other supplies. And I kind of, at the time, money was really tight. I mean, we've never really had a lot, but, money was really tight back then when we first got married. And so I kind of dragged my feet a little bit, but I eventually got on board and we started preparing. And it's been over 10 years ago now that we started doing that. And as time went on, we started to see that we really wanted to live more simply. Like we had been living in an apartment, and we didn't like the fact that we had one child at that point, that we were raising him in an apartment kind of situation. We wanted to have our own property. We wanted to have our own animals and be able to produce all of our own food. And that just wasn't possible. So we started to look around, and my parents were also interested in doing the same thing. So we got together and we found this property, and this is where we're living now. We had been in St. Louis, Missouri, so we moved all the way to Arkansas, and we have a beautiful piece of property, and now we're raising all of our own animals, all of our own food. We never buy meat at the store. We always butcher our own animals, and we're slowly working toward someday having a milk cow. We're not prepared to have that right now, but we have all of our own meat to butcher. We butcher our chickens and our sheep. And eventually our fish will be big enough, and we'll be eating those. We had a great garden this last year, and we put up a ton of produce. So we've been very blessed and with that. So all of those things kind of led up to our decision to be self-sufficient. Why did we live off grid? Homesteading doesn't necessitate living off grid, but for us it kind of did, because we chose a piece of property that was very hard to get electricity to. And we kind of had a dream of just wanting to live an old-fashioned way. We actually love living without electricity, which is kind of hard for some people to believe. We really like it. I really don't miss electricity at all. It's nice in the evenings when the sun goes down. We turn on our lanterns, and it's really cozy. I don't miss the electric lights. I sleep so much better without them. So off-grid, it's a lot more work, I guess, but it's worth it.
Is that you and your husband's full-time jobs then, working on your land?
Yes, yes. He does supplement his income with other things that he gets on the side. He's a graphic artist. But other than that, yes, our full-time attention is spent here on our property and with our website, growing our website business. Yes. Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a little bit about your website business?
We have a number of videos on YouTube that just basically document our life and the things that we're learning about. You know, we don't make videos or write articles about anything that we're not experiencing and haven't tried. So sometimes I look at the prepper community and there's so much information out there. And I learned a lot from that information before we started living our off-grid life. But the reality of it is that a lot of that information is just book knowledge. It's taken from different sources that people have read or heard about, and maybe they haven't had the ability to try themselves. So what we try to do is, yes, take that information, but only write about and talk about and make videos about things that we've actually tried. So you'll get our real experience here. You'll get what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and you'll get to learn along with us as we try new things and maybe fail at sometimes. But yeah, it's all taken from a point of view of what we actually do and not necessarily what we've heard about. We've learned a ton about living off-grid. When we think about preparedness, you know, we think about things like, what would we do if we didn't have running water? Well, that's my reality every single day. We had a comment from a viewer that was wondering how we were doing in the winter storm that went through, I don't know, 3 weeks ago now, maybe almost a month ago. And it kind of made me smile because we've had others concerned about us too during the winter storm. And last year we had a ton of different neighbors come check on us. And it kind of makes me smile because what they don't realize is that it's no big deal for us because we're used to living without running water. We're used to living without electricity. When the power goes out, it doesn't affect us at all. Because we're so used to it. So learning those lessons now in a setting that we are able to control. I mean, we still go to town and we still get different things from technically the outside world, but it's a controlled way of learning for us, you know. It's not something that that has been forced on us. One day, you know, in the preparedness community, you talk about a grid goes down situation, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's an economic collapse, whether it's some kind of war situation. The prepper community plans for all of those scenarios. Well, in all of those scenarios, there will be no power. There will be no running water, probably. So we talk about different ways that we function every single day to be able to live without those things and really thrive without those things. So that's our goal, is to teach people those kind of skills with our website and with our videos, and try to keep it entertaining at the same time.
I want to come back to the no running water thing, but first I want to ask you, do you have some products that you sell through your website?
Well, currently we have some candles. My father makes some candles in mason jars from palm oil, which is a really clean burning oil. And there's no smell, there's no fumes that go into the air, so that it's a really good candle to burn. And we burn them regularly throughout the wintertime whenever we need light. We also offer a healing salve that a friend makes, and she puts a bunch of different herbs in it, like comfrey and yarrow and different medicinal herbs. I use it all the time, from chapped lips to ticks and chigger bites and poison ivy, a lot of different things I use it for. Then we sell seeds. We had some seeds that have been sold out now, but so we were offering seeds from our garden. We do plan on, in the next couple weeks, offering some water kefir grains. If you're familiar with making fermented products, fermented foods, we really enjoy water kefir here on our homestead, and I make it regularly. And so we'll probably start offering water kefir grains in the next couple weeks.
Sounds good. Okay, let's go back to the water thing, because I was thinking, yeah, this doesn't sound so bad, and she still has access to the internet. And then you said no running water, and I went, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, honestly. The biggest thing. Yeah.
Because that's like no showers?
We have a camping shower bag that we use, and it hangs from a hook in our bathtub, and we fill it every day. We fill it with room temperature water, and then when we're ready to take a shower, we usually always have water heating on our wood stove, and so we fill it the rest of the way with boiling water, and we know exactly the right ratio to make it exactly the right temperature. Yeah, I often tell people my little toddler, he has literally never had a bath in his life. He's probably the only kid running around that has literally never in his whole life had a bath. He's always had a shower with a shower bag.
See, I would have thought more like Laura Ingalls Wilder kind of stuff, where you fill up the bathtub.
Okay, yes, but they did not have access to a shower bag. I bet you anything, if they had known about that or had something similar, they would have used that, because a bathtub, you have to fill with a lot of water. My family of 4, there's 4 of us, we can shower on 4 gallons of water. Now, you cannot fill a bathtub or even a wash tub with 4 gallons of water and be able to sit in it and wash. So what they normally did was they filled it once and everybody washed one after the other. Yep. And they usually only washed once a week.
Yes, I just heard a speaker this week talking about that, because he was the youngest of 4, and he's like, we got baths on Saturday night, and he said, by the time it got to me, because I was the youngest, he's like, I did not want to get in that bath.
I know, no kidding. Yeah. But with a shower bag, it's awesome. We love our shower bag so much. Honestly, I couldn't live this life without it.
Yeah. So do you have a pump, and that like for doing dishes and things like that?
We have a well pump that's in our backyard. And so what I'll normally do, I have a lot of different water bottles that I've saved from, the juice bottles, the the liter size juice bottles. And so I'll put those in a crate, and then I pump my water directly into those, and then I'll carry it in the house. And that's how we function.
So your well water is safe for drinking?
We always filter it just because there's some sediment. Yes, we've had people drink it, no problem. But we just get in the habit of filtering our water for drinking.
I've heard that really that's good for anybody to do that.
Yeah, I really think it's a good habit to get into. Mm-hmm.
So you've talked about a lot of different things that you like about off-grid living. Do you have something that is your very favorite thing?
My very favorite thing? I think probably being here with our family and having my kids be able to run around and not worry about the neighbors. Because we can't see any neighbors from our property. We're up here on a mountain. And I don't have to worry about someone walking by in the street and looking over the fence and seeing my kids playing, or they can run around just fine. And there's never been an issue. And just being here and working together as a family, we sit down and have all of our meals together, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so, we connect and we're working together all the time.
One of the reasons that they can't see you is because you're so far into your property, and you can live that far in because you don't have to be connected to electric.
Yes, exactly. Yes. There is power way down at the county road. But again, it would cost us a lot of money to get a power line up here on our mountain, and we just chose not to do it. At that point, we had been used to living without electricity anyway because we had lived in a travel trailer while we were locating our property. So we were used to it anyway. So we thought, well, we'll just continue.
Yeah, so you have a phone line up to your house.
Yes, yes. And the phone company actually put that in for free. All we had to do was sign up for their service.
That's awesome. No Green Acres kind of thing going hanging down the telephone pole down the
No,
road.
no, no, no. It's buried in the ground. Yeah.
What's the most that you would say unusual thing you've done with living off grid?
Unusual things. I think a lot of stuff we do is unusual. uh, just washing dishes every day is kind of unusual because we heat all of our water. So I fill the sink, and I love the idea of having a clean sink. I used to do dishes all the time. I wouldn't leave dishes out on the counter. I'd put it directly into the dishwasher because I'm kind of a neat freak. But the reality is now that would take a lot of water. So not only to run a dishwasher, obviously, I don't have a dishwasher, but to be washing every single dish with clean water. So normally what I'll do is just I leave a sink full of water all the time, and it gets dirty throughout the day, but I'll pre-rinse the dishes in that water and set them aside for when I wash dishes all at once in the evening. I don't know, though, the most unusual thing. I probably would say canning over an open fire, because you don't really hear many people doing that. If they're canning and preserving their produce, they're doing it inside or they're doing it on a propane burner if they do it outside. We use an open fire for all of our canning. And if you're interested in that, you can go to our website and look, and we actually have some videos that show how we actually can over an open fire. And I have a very large, your audience is probably, some of them in your audience is familiar with the All American brand. And they're a really, really good canner, like the Cadillac of canners, from what I understand. And I have their biggest one, which holds 19 quarts. 19 quart jars is what it holds when it's completely full. And I've filled it very many times over the summer, and even in the fall when we did chickens, we canned all of our chickens that we had butchered at that time. We did 10, and then a few months later we did another 10. So we've canned a total of 20 chickens, the meat from 20 chickens, and we did all of that over an open fire with our canner.
Is that just because it's easier outside and you have more room? Or why did you choose? Do you cook inside normally?
Well, we have a propane stove that we use inside. We try to conserve on propane. Again, our goal is to learn as many self-sufficient things as possible. So, propane is something we actually have to purchase. We have abundant wood on our property. So when we when we are able to, we will cook with wood. So there's that. But also the canner is too big. It will not fit on our stove inside the house. So we chose to do it outside. And so we do all of it outside on an open fire.
And I guess freezing food is kind of out of the picture.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Do you do dehydrating?
We do, yes. We have a dehydrator. We did not have one this last summer, but my dad actually built one over the winter. And so we'll be able to use it during this coming summer with our harvest. Last summer, we just did kind of a makeshift way. We put food on trays and stuck them in a vehicle. And inside the vehicle in the summer is a perfect place to dehydrate foods because it's usually around 110, 120 degrees, which is what you want for dehydrating. So it's a perfect place to do that if you don't have a dehydrator.
Do your parents live there with you?
Yeah, they actually have a house that's right next to ours, and we have manufactured homes, and we chose our spot on our property, and they brought them up and set them up, and so we purposely did that just so we could live close to one another. They are getting older, and at one point, they will not be able to do as much as they do now, and I really believe that as their daughter, it will be my job to take care of them in their old age. We have no plan to send them to a nursing home. So I plan on taking care of them on our property until they pass one day in the future.
But they are totally fine with living off grid.
Yeah, yeah. My mom pumps all of her own water. She does all of her laundry by hand, just like I do. Yeah, we have a pretty good laundry setup that we do. We have wringers, the old-fashioned crank wringers. That's what we use, and we use the wash tub. So that's how we do all of our own laundry. We never go to the laundromat.
And hang it on the line, right?
Yes, hang it on the line. Yeah, I've had a lot of days when I've hung my clothes on the line and it's frozen as soon as I've gotten them up there. That's not an ideal situation, but it's happened. Now, in the wintertime, I will often hang them inside. I have a good setup. I actually used a old crib, the side of an old crib, and I will hang a lot of stuff, and it's hanging right next to my wood stove. I have it mounted to the wall, and it's hanging right next to my wood stove. So often if I have guests come in the house, they'll see all my laundry hanging right next to the wood stove.
So is your house pretty small then?
Yeah, yeah, we have 2 bedrooms and it's large for me. I wouldn't want anything larger. It's a little less than 1,000 square feet. Which is the perfect size, I feel like, for us, being a family of 4. It's not, a large home is kind of hard. If you think about when electricity came to be, it really only started in the early 20th century that a lot of homes really started to be fully electric. And what happened after that was that home size started to grow. I often remind people that you really can't have a large home without electric servants. It's really not possible to keep a large home. So I really like our little small house because it's perfect, and I can keep it clean without electricity, and that's what I like doing. I don't. If you think about the large homes that, the castles or the large homes that were in existence before electricity was common, what did they have? They had physical servants, and so they had people all the time taking care of the needs, and the people that did not have servants had small homes.
Yeah, because it caught me off guard when you said you got manufactured houses, because I was really expecting you to say you built your own, because I thought you would have different requirements with being off-grid.
Yes, I know. And that was our original plan. Unfortunately, life got in the way. We had tried to build, but it just wasn't happening. It was really, really hard to get materials and builders to come to our property. So all of that in the winter was coming, and we had already spent a winter off-grid without a home. And that was really tough for us. We were in a travel trailer without any heat. And yes.
That sounds hard.
So when the following winter was coming, we just decided, I think we'll just do manufactured homes. And so we went to a facility, a company, and I was very surprised because I had never considered that option before. But basically, we just went and we told them what we wanted, and they were very happy to comply. And they even let us design our own floor plan. They kept wanting to sell us a bigger house, but they let us design our own floor plan, and we were very grateful that we were able to do that. We picked out linoleum flooring. They were surprised we didn't want carpet. We picked out linoleum flooring. The things that it did come with standard, we were able to remove. It came with a standard toilet, which we removed. It came with a hot water heater, obviously electric, air conditioning, heater, all of the things that are electric that we removed. And we gained a ton of more space that we actually use for a pantry now.
Yeah, I just thought about that because you said about no dishwasher, no oven and stove.
Yeah.
You get more space for sure.
Yeah. And what they told us was basically they had to put these things in, but once it arrived at our property, they said, it's yours, you do with it what you want. So we removed all those things, and we removed the toilet. We have a composting system that we use. And so we took out the plumbing for the toilet, and so we could put our composting system in place.
Yeah, I like to follow some of the tiny house stuff, and those compostable toilets are very popular with the tiny house people.
Yes, and there are different systems. If you're interested in ours, you can find one of our videos about it. It's in our first season of videos, I believe. And it's super simple. Like anyone can set up this composting system themselves. It requires almost no money. All you basically need is a 5-gallon bucket and sawdust. And before we had seen it and used it in action, we were, a little bit skeptical, is this thing going to smell? But it really doesn't. We put down the sawdust after we use it, and so we always keep it covered. And the layer of sawdust over everything keeps the scent away. You really can't smell it.
And how often do you have to dump it, and where do you dump it?
Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. You have to get rid of it, huh?
Yeah, right. I mean, the 5-gallon bucket and 4 of you.
Well, we probably go through a bucket maybe about a day and a half. In the summer, less, and because I have 3 boys in my family. I have 2 little boys in the summer. What do? They go outside.
And you don't have any
neighbors. Find a tree.
Yeah, you don't have any neighbors.
Right. So everyone finds a tree. But this time of year, we're probably emptying it every day and a half, a day to a day and a half. And we carry it out and we dump it in a compost heap that has been built from pallets. So we'll put 4 pallets together to create a bin, and then we dump the bucket in there, and we cover it over with whatever we have that's compostable material. Right now we have a lot of dead leaves that are still remaining from the fall, so we cover it with the dead leaves.
Wow, you're the first person I've been able to ask that question to, because like I said, I follow them and I see them with this toilet and I'm going, where are you going to put that? Because it's going to get full.
Yeah, it's a perfect system, really. If you have your own property, anyone can do it. I've even heard of people doing it who live in a suburb type situation. I'm not sure what the neighbors think, but I've heard of people doing it. It really doesn't smell. So anyone can do it as long as you can do it in a way that's private and maybe your subdivision rules don't get in the way. I don't know. But it's perfect situation for getting rid of waste, and it requires no water, which is an absolute blessing for us, because to have to haul all the water to be able to get rid of waste, it just doesn't make sense. So just to be able to put some sawdust down, carry it out, get rid of it, bring a clean bucket back inside, it's a perfect situation. And really, if there's ever a situation where for those who are preparing in your audience, if there's ever a situation where you are without running water, please keep a bucket around. It is so worth it to be able to use a bucket and not have to haul more water or store more water just to flush your toilet.
Are you able to collect sawdust on your own land from cutting your wood?
We could. It would be a little bit harder for us to do. Right now, we get a big, huge truckload of sawdust for $10. It's basically a waste product that a factory who makes handles, like axe handles, hammer handles, things like that. They make all of their own handles from wood to sell to different companies who make the equipment. So they generate a lot of sawdust at their factory, and we are able to pick up a whole big truckload of sawdust there for $10. And that lasts us probably a good half the year. We also compost a lot for the garden. So we'll put down compost, but we layer it with sawdust. If anyone's interested in that kind of gardening method, it's called the Back to Eden garden, which basically you just layer a bunch of different material on top of the soil to make your soil richer. And so we use sawdust a lot for that too. So we go through a lot of sawdust, but again, we can get a big, huge truckload of it pretty cheaply.
Do you have another aspect of off-grid living or homesteading that you want to learn about or try?
Oh, there's so many things. I know that there's people who make their own soap. I have not yet tried that, but I'm very interested in doing that. And I would love to make it, learn to make my own lye. So use our own ash to make my own lye to be able to make soap. I would really love to do that. We have yet not ventured into the dairy animals, although I'm very familiar with milking. I've done it on several occasions, and I've even made my own butter before. But right now, we do not have a dairy animal. It's something that we will be getting into hopefully in the next year or so. We decided to take things one at a time because when we first started to get our animals, we got chickens and we got the sheep, and we got them all at the same time, and it just began to be too much to get used to. And so we're trying to learn, especially the sheep, how to raise our own sheep, and then once we get that under our belt, then we'll look into dairy animals. And so I'm really interested in getting a dairy cow one day. Hopefully here soon, we will be getting running water. We are trying to get it installed. We have a solar pump that we need to set up that will actually pump water into a holding tank. And then from there, we can manually pump it to a holding tank on our roof. And so then we will have gravity-fed running water.
Yay!
I know. So I'm looking forward to that day, but hopefully here in the spring it'll be, we just decided not to set it up for the winter. We thought it would probably just freeze anyway, so we wouldn't be able to use it for the winter. But hopefully most of the year we'll be able to have running water except in the colder months.
That would cut out a lot of time for you with hauling water, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then you can work on learning more about the animals.
Yeah, the animals and different things. It'll really, really be nice in the summer because a lot of the canning work requires a lot of water. And so a lot of time was spent hauling the water. So hopefully that'll cut my canning time in half, which would be really nice.
If you could offer our listener a piece of advice toward becoming more self-sufficient, what would you tell them?
Try a number of things, but really on my heart is try to stop the electronics. Just try to turn off the television. Try to wean your kids off of the electronic devices. There's so many times when families will come out to visit us their kids are completely hooked on the electronic devices, which really makes it hard for them because we don't have those things here. And I can see them going through an adjustment period. Well, what happens if there's some kind of a natural disaster, or maybe you have the desire to move to a homestead, or maybe you have the desire to go off grid, but your kids are addicted to the electronic devices? It makes it almost impossible. We get emails all the time about, what do I do with my kids? Because they don't want to move to have a more self-sufficient lifestyle. Well, the reason is because they've been addicted to the electronics and that constant stimulation where they're not used to playing outside, or they're not used to making up their own games and things like that. So I probably think that's the number one, and it's huge. It's so hard because, I mean, I'm a mom. I know it's just easy. You know, sometimes you just want that peace. Turn on the TV. I actually wrote an article about it on our website where Steve Jobs was even saying, when he was alive, he was even saying, I don't let my kids have an iPad. Why doesn't he let his kids have an iPad? Because an iPad doesn't teach a kid to stimulate their imagination. And a lot of times I look at my kids running around and they have imagination it's huge, their imagination. And I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy that they're not into that electronic lifestyle that so many kids are today. Secondly, if I could give any advice, it probably would be learn how to cook, and learn how to cook from scratch. There's so many people today who have not had the opportunity of being brought up to know how to cook, and so they're having to learn themselves. And so there's so much information out there, but just learn how to cook. It really is worthwhile, especially if you're considering a preparedness lifestyle and being self-sufficient. So probably those two things would be my advice.
Thank you so much, Jaimie. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today, because obviously time is precious for you. And I really enjoyed talking to you and your openness about answering all the questions. And for our listener, they've got lots of information on their website and the link to their videos where you can watch exactly what they do, and find them at anamericanhomestead.com. We have lots more great information on our blog at momprepares.com, and we'd love to have you be part of our communities on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Mom Prepares.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a show. Visit our website, momprepares.com, for show notes and more great information.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button below the video. It really makes creating these videos worthwhile. If you want to make sure to never miss a new video, be sure to click the subscribe button. Now you can get your homesteading questions answered. Visit us at our contact page on anamericanhomestead.com and send us your questions. Maybe we'll pick your question for a future video or article on our website.